The conflict in eastern Ukraine has intensified significantly as the Russian Army's 7th Airborne Division reports major battlefield advances, claiming control over most of the settlement of Stepnogorsk, where Ukrainian defenses are reportedly collapsing. Moscow has issued statements asserting that its forces have successfully encircled Ukrainian troops near Dmitrov and captured 2 additional settlements in the Kharkiv and Donetsk region. These operations have been supported by heavy artillery, rocket systems, and precision strikes using Kinzhal hypersonic missiles, which Russian officials state are necessary to break through fortified lines. In contrast, officials in Kyiv dispute these accounts, maintaining that their forces are holding firm on defensive lines in Myrnorod and conducting mop-up operations in Pokrovsk to secure the area. The Ukrainian military also announced the establishment of new logistic corridors intended to keep supplies flowing to the front. Despite the immense pressure, the situation remains highly volatile, with both sides releasing conflicting reports regarding territorial control. But footage from the frontline underscores the heavy intensity of the fighting as Russia seeks to expand its momentum before the depths of winter fully sets in. The war has escalated beyond the traditional front lines following a suspected Ukrainian drone strikes near the residence of Chechen leader Ramzan Kadyrov in central Grozny. This brazen attack deep within Russian territory triggered emergency restrictions across Chechnya and prompted one of Kadyrov's strongest warnings to date. Within hours of the explosion, the Chechen leader vowed a forceful retaliatory campaign, and shortly thereafter, Russian forces launched a massive combined aerial attack targeting military and logistical infrastructure across Ukraine. According to statements from Grozny and Moscow, more than 60 sites were hit by combinations of Geranium drones, Iskander-M ballistic missiles, and sea-launched caliber missiles. The strikes aim to dismantle Ukraine's ability to sustain its war effort, hitting energy grids, ports facilities, and command centers. The surge in long-range attacks highlight how regional leaders within the Russian Federations are becoming increasingly aggressive in their rhetoric and operational response, pushing the conflict into a heightened phase of escalations that threaten to spill over further into civilian sectors. Internal security within Russia has become a major focus after the Federal Security Service and Interior Ministry announced the arrest of a 21-year-old man and 8 teenagers in Novosibirsk. Authorities allege this group was involved in coordinated arson attacks on communication and transport infrastructure orchestrated by Ukrainian intelligence services. The primary suspect, who operated under the pseudonym Smile, admitted to setting fire to a radio tower in exchange for payment, while investigators claim that further attacks on railways were being planned. These arrests come shortly after the State Duma passed a law lowering the age of criminal responsibility for sabotage to 14, reflecting Moscow's growing concern over domestic stability. Simultaneously, intelligence leaks have exposed deep fracture within the Ukrainian military. Fresh radio intercept obtained by Russian security sources reportedly captured a Ukrainian commander ordering National Guard's fighters to open fire on their own retreating soldiers near Kupyansk. The recording suggests a breakdown in discipline and morale among overstretched units, with commanders allegedly resorting to extreme measures to prevent desertion as manpower shortage become critical. The humanitarian and structural toll of the war continues to mount as Russian airstrikes target critical infrastructure essential for civilian survival. A massive drone strike hit a residential high-rise building in Oktokar in the Sumy region, injuring 7 people and trapping residents on the upper floor as fires spread between the 2nd and 5th level. Emergency crews managed to evacuate 35 residents, but the structural damage to the city, which sits less than 50 kilometers from the Russian border, is extensive. This attack followed a broader wave of bombardment on December 7th that struck the Pechenihy Dam in the Kharkiv region and other facilities in Kupyansk and Chernihiv. The disruption to water, power, and transport networks has led Ukrainian officials to label the attack as war crimes. In a show of defensive capability, Ukraine reported shooting down 131 Russian drones overnight, while launching its own retaliatory strikes against the Ryazan oil refinery. The relentless exchange of aerial fire demonstrates that neither side is willing to de-escalate, with civilians increasingly caught in the crossfire of a war targeting the fundamental machinery of the state. While the land war rages, the geopolitical struggle over energy and maritime security is shifting alliance and trade routes. Turkey has asserted its readiness to take the lead in ensuring Black Sea security following a series of incidents involving tankers and naval drones that have spiked insurance premiums and disrupted global logistics. The Turkish shipping giant Beşiktaş Shipping halted all Russia's related voyages after one of its vessels was damaged, signaling that the naval conflict is now directly impacting international commerce. Meanwhile, diplomatic ties between Ankara and Budapest have strengthened. During a meeting in Istanbul, Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan agreed that Turkey would guarantee the transit of Russian gas to Hungary via the TurkStream pipeline. Orbán confirmed that Hungary has secured exemptions from sanctions imposed by the United States, allowing it to continue receiving energy supplies essential for its economy. This agreement highlights Turkey's growing influence as a critical energy hub for Europe and exposes the widening cracks in Western sanctions regime as nations prioritize their energy security over collective punishment policies. Tensions in the Indo-Pacific have flared sharply, complicating the global security landscapes for the administration of United States President Donald Trump. China's Ministry of Foreign Affairs issued a stern warning against any interference in Taiwan, declaring the island to be the first red line in Sino-American relations that must not be crossed. The statement was a direct response to the new United States national security strategy, which emphasized military deterrence and support for Taiwan in the face of Beijing's claim. The situation escalated further when Beijing accused Japanese fighter jets of intruding into Chinese military training zones and conducting dangerous reconnaissance maneuvers. Chinese officials rejected Japanese claims that their aircraft had used fire control radar on the Japanese jets, labeling the accusations as disinformation intended to manufacture a crisis. With both Tokyo and Beijing trading blame and increasing the military readiness, and with Taiwan pledging to boost its own defense spending in response to United States support, the risk of a confrontation in East Asia is rising in parallel with the conflicts in Europe, challenging the capacity of global powers to manage multiple theaters of instability simultaneously. If you have made it this far, congratulations, you have unlocked the truth. I want to ask you a quick question though. We are witnessing a simultaneous escalations on two massive fronts. The crumbling defenses in eastern Ukraine, coupled with Kadyrov's vow of vengeance and the razor-edge tensions in Taiwan Strait, where China has just drawn a definitive red line against American interference. With the Russian military pushing hard before winter and Beijing challenging U.S. naval supremacy and Japanese airspace, do you believe these coordinated escalations mark the official beginning of a synchronized global conflict? Or are these isolated incidents that can still be contained by traditional diplomacy? And why? Join the debate. We want to hear your insightful opinion on where this is all heading in our community. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Like the video, hit the notification bell, and most importantly, subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one.